it slips a little bit.
Imagine a Batgirl film where Leslie Grace steps into Gotham's shadows as Barbara Gordon.
Batgirl here.
Brendan Fraser plays a vengeful pyromaniac named Firefly, and Michael Keaton returns as Batman, tying directly into the multiverse reset of The Flash. It was filmed, nearly finished, and meant to connect to the DCU universe you already knew, but instead, it was locked away forever. How would Batgirl have looked? How would she interact with Batman? And most importantly, was Firefly the villain of the movie, or was it Warner Brothers execs? Welcome back to Wishlist Cinema. I'm Peter Murphy, and this is the channel where we break down the greatest movies never made. Today, we're diving into DC's canceled Batgirl movie. We'll look at the story and use AI to give you a taste of what it would have looked like, and dig into the comics and the movies that inspired it. From there, we'll dig into the directors and cast behind the project and how it was supposed to connect to the greater DC universe with surprising Easter eggs. But like any good episode of Batman the Animated Series, no video can end without a villain. We'll cover why Warner Brothers Discovery shelved the nearly complete film, the cast and fan reactions to that shocking decision, and finally, we'll break down the 5 biggest facts versus fictions surrounding Batgirl's lost adventure. So grab your cape, because this is the story of the Batgirl movie you'll never see. At its core, the story of Batgirl was really just the origin story of Barbara Gordon stepping into her own as Gotham's newest protector. Written by Christina Hudson, the film would have explored Barbara balancing her life as the daughter of Commissioner James Gordon with her vigilante identity. The confirmed villain was Firefly, a disgruntled veteran turned arsonist played by Brendan Fraser. Instead of the Garfield Lynns version from the comics, the movie used Ted Carson, reimagined with a tragic working-class backstory. This gave the film a more grounded antagonist while still pulling from the comic lore. While the film would have seen Batgirl team up with Michael Keaton's Batman and fight Firefly, it was meant to be more of a street-level movie compared to the larger-scale DCU films. This was likely due to it being an HBO Max exclusive with a $70 million to $90 million budget, which paled in comparison to The Flash's $220 million budget. Thematically, insiders say the tone blended Nolan style great with Burton-inspired gothic visuals, which was meant to fuse Michael Keaton's Batman, but make it more modern and realistic. At the end of the day, Barbara's story arc was about learning that justice isn't black and white, a theme pulled directly from her comic history in Batgirl Year 1 and The New 52. A quick rundown of the Batgirl cast and crew gives us a great insight into what the film would have looked like. Directed by the same director as Bad Boys for Life and Ms. Marvel, they aimed to create a street-level Gotham story that still felt cinematic with new and returning actors from the DCU. Leslie Grace as Barbara Gordon, J.K. Simmons reprising his role as Commissioner Gordon, and the father of Leslie Grace as Batgirl. Brendan Fraser as Firefly, the film's central villain. While a departure from Fraser's earlier films, this would have been part of his comeback that culminated in winning an Oscar for The Whale. Looking at the supporting characters, Jacob Scipio as mob boss Anthony Bresci, Ivory Aquino as Alyssa Yeoh, Barbara's best friend and first major transgender character in a DC film. Michael Keaton returning as Bruce Wayne / Batman, bridging the Burton films with the new DC timeline. Behind the camera, Christina Hudson's script gave Barbara her first live-action solo story, and the Glasgow sets transformed the Scottish sky into Gotham. The unreleased Batgirl movie wasn't meant to be a standalone. It tied directly into the post-Flash reset of the DC universe. With Keaton back as Batman, the movie would have positioned Barbara as his protege, setting up a new era of Gotham storytelling. Set photos revealed clever Easter eggs that tied it to the new universe. A magazine cover referencing Lex Luthor's trial, reading, "Billionaire villain Lex Luthor hires new lawyer to appeal sentence." This seems to retcon the end of Justice League, where Lex Luthor is on a boat with Destro.
You better not be wasting my time.
No, I have too much to live for.
Headlines teasing the Court of Owls, Gotham's secret society, and well-known part of Batman comics. Posters hinting at Black Canary from Birds of Prey. Even Vicky Vale had a retrospective article, grounding the movie in classic Batman lore. In short, Batgirl was shaping up as a connective tissue between old Batman films and the new DC universe. Now, was Firefly the villain of Batgirl, or was it Warner Brothers executives? Here's where fact meets industry shock. By August 2022, the movie was in post-production, with unfinished VFX and some reshoots scheduled. Warner Brothers Discovery then made the unprecedented move to shelve the nearly finished project entirely. The official reasoning? A tax write-off strategy. CEO David Zaslav declared the studio would focus on theatrical blockbusters, and Batgirl, originally planned for HBO Max, didn't fit that plan. Reports also suggest test screenings scored poorly, with executives worried the movie wouldn't fit event film standards. But shelving a $90 million film outright was still a bombshell move in Hollywood. With Warner Brothers shelving Batgirl as a tax write-off strategy, the fallout was intense. The directors of the film called it the biggest disappointment of our careers. Leslie Grace shared behind-the-scenes footage and thanked fans for letting her become, in her own words, my own damn hero. Brendan Fraser described the cancellation as tragic and said it doesn't engender trust in the studio. Michael Keaton, ever pragmatic, admitted he didn't care much since, in his words, "I got a big, fun, nice check." Fans online erupted with hashtags demanding Warner Brothers release the film, pointing out it would have marked major steps for representation and Gotham storytelling. It does seem like Warner Brothers was the true villain of Batgirl. When researching the unreleased Batgirl movies, it can be hard to tell fact from fiction. Luckily, we're here to help. Did the full script leak online? No complete draft has surfaced, only rumored excerpts and unverified summaries. Was the movie almost finished when it was shelved? While filming wrapped, post-production was incomplete. VFX and editing weren't done. While it was close to done, there was still work needed. Was Batgirl canceled because of The Flash? While it's easy to make that assumption as The Flash was not great, the shelving was a corporate decision for tax purposes, not due to The Flash. Would Alyssa Yeoh have been DC's first major trans character? Yes, confirmed by casting of Ivory Aquino. How can George Clooney be Batman in a Flash if Michael Keaton was Batman in Batgirl, which came out after The Flash? Well, George Clooney's cameo in The Flash was just a last-minute curveball, not a serious franchise direction. Unfortunately, when Batgirl was killed, so was the plan to have Michael Keaton's Batman return for future films. So that's the story of DC's Batgirl, the movie filmed, almost finished, packed with universe connections, but now locked in a vault. What do you think? Should Warner Brothers have released it, even if only on streaming? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into movies that never were.